Good morning, everybody. I was just reading an article by Chef Bay, and it was really inspirational. She is 12 weeks pregnant and felt like she wanted to uplift and enlighten people who have been through miscarriages and to give them hope. And it gave me the inkling to share my own story with you, just so you know that when life has you down and things don't go your way, there is still hope, and it doesn't mean that it's the end of the road for you. So, as far as pregnancies go, before I had my first child, I had two miscarriages, and both of those miscarriages were at 13 and a half weeks. There was no forewarning. It was just at 13 and a half weeks I miscarried. And I did not need a D&C with either one of them. My body cleansed itself, and my doctor, I got a new doctor, and when I got pregnant with my third pregnancy, which is my first viable baby, who is now 21, and he was furious. He was like, why has nobody done any tests on you? You are young. You're in your early 20s. There is no reason that I can see that you would be miscarrying like this. You didn't even miscarry a couple weeks in. We're talking, you just hit the second trimester. And I was at a loss too. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I just figured it was God's work. There was obviously something wrong with the fetus and it just wasn't viable. But he said that wasn't good enough for him. He ran a multitude of tests. He put me on high risk, and the entire pregnancy was completely healthy. I passed all my tests. There was nothing that he could detect that would have been a reason for me to miscarry. So I had my boy, and then 14 years later, I had another child. But 12 years later is when I started trying. Also worth mentioning, it took me 2 years of trying. I was actually actively trying to have a child when I had those miscarriages. They weren't just whoops babies. So I was trying for 2 years, finally got pregnant at the 2-year mark, and that's when I started having the miscarriages. So it took a while to get pregnant, and then that. Then 12 years after I had my first child, I was remarried and was trying again on purpose to have a baby, and it took 2 years to get pregnant with her. She was the one and only pregnancy, and it was viable, so I was a happy mom. I got my girl, and I got my tubes cut the day after she was born. And a year and a half later, I found out that my tubes grew back and I was pregnant. So I not only had 2 instances where I had 2 years of what I thought was infertility, and then got pregnant and had 2 miscarriages the first time around at 13 and a half weeks. Then I had my third child unexpectedly after my tubes miraculously grew back. So it's not our plan. It's God's plan. And if you are wanting to have a baby and you're having troubles, just pray. Just keep your faith that it will work out the way that it's meant to. Because you just never know. Really, you never know what's possible. And just count everything as a blessing, because it's all a learning experience and an opportunity for us to enhance the world in our own little way. I love you guys. I hope that inspired someone who's having trouble getting a baby, because everybody's got their purpose, okay? So don't worry. It's coming. Have a wonderful day. Keep pushing.